everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Camilla.
Today we're taking a look at Pergola. This is the latest game from Rebel Studio and sort of a spiritual successor to a game that I know you like very much, Meadow.
Yes.
It's sort of set in a similar trappings, very cozy. The look and sort of the soft watercolor feel of it is going to be similar, but the games are really not related whatsoever. This is an entirely different new thing.
Yeah, this is like in Meadow, you're going and on a walk through the meadow and you're discovering all the things. This is after you get home and you're inspired and you're building your own garden.
Is that what it is?
That's what's happening in my head.
Okay, I like that. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the game comes together. I'll give you an overview. We'll come on back. We'll tell you what we think of it. Here we're taking a look at the game setup for 3 players. You can tell by the number of tools available, and then every player is going to have an area just like this. They'll have only set up one player's area for the overview. So you have your area in the center. You begin with your color for your frog and your birdhouse. You have this area over here with the cascade, and this area over here with the pergola itself, and then some honey pots at the bottom. Everybody has a board here which is going to explain all the scoring at the end of the game. And so the idea being, you're going to be scoring here for hollyhocks. You want different kinds. You're going to be scoring for butterflies sitting on those. The higher, the better. You're going to be scoring for magnolias. The higher up the magnolias, the better. And they grow as a single tree. You're going to be scoring for these ladybugs. The more across the same level, the more they score. You're going to be scoring for these buttercups. You want a set of a 1 and a 2. You'll get 3 points for each of those sets. You're going to be scoring for putting bees on the buttercups as well as on lavender. If it's filled, then you get 8 points, 4 and 2, so respectively. You're going to be scoring here for the lavender. A single stalk will get you 2 points. And once you fill it, then you can put in something here. You're going to be scoring for the dragonflies, and then you'll be getting endgame bonuses for any of the honey pots you have activated, any of the water droplets that made it all the way down to the bottom of the cascade, and then if you have any of these leaves, you'll be getting bonus points for different colored leaves. So that's everything. That's an informational dump, but let's go ahead and put this back down, and I'll explain what is going on. On your turn, you're going to be selecting one of these 4 tools that is available. You'll be taking that tool, you'll be gathering the goodies that it lists across the top, and then you'll be taking the corresponding action listed across the bottom. With that done, they'll scoot over, we'll draw a new one, it'll be the next player's turn, okay? So, the different things you might encounter out here. You might have this one here, which says I'm going to get one of these blue ones, and the reason I did the name dump at the top is because I will forget what all these are called. These are hollyhocks. I still remember that. So you would put this out here, and this is sort of a free-form board. You can sort of put this anywhere you want to, okay? And then it says I get one of these buttercups, the ones with the single piece. They're pink. They go over here. Like that. And then with that done, I'm going to take this bonus right here. Now, all of these tiles and all the upcoming ones have some combination of these things. They'll give you the different critters. They'll give you the different plants. They might even have, like this one here, a lantern, such as this one there, that is a bonus you can take later on in the game. In this case, this lantern lets you take a tool from somewhere and then take a mismatched bonus, i.e. I can take this tool, but then choose to do this bonus by flipping this face down, okay? So that's what the lanterns are going to do. And that's what all the tools are going to do. Now let's talk bonuses here. The first bonus is going to let me move the little critters from one place to another. As you take new little critters, if they can go somewhere, say I got a bee, I can put that bee right on there. But if I don't have it or it's already full, then I can just have the bee somewhere and I'll be able to move it later using this. Or I can just move something to a more opportune location. I can move the butterflies to a higher location. They score better that way. Or I can have my ladybugs start filling the same level if I'm able to do so because they'll score more points that way. And maybe when I took it, that wasn't available yet. The second one here is the bird who goes and plucks one of these little leaves over here. Now the leaves, you are going to take one of these. You ideally want different colors because at the end of the game you're going to get bonus points for different colors. And then you get whatever's on it. In this case, a bee, which I promptly would put right there. And then I'm going to leave this on my little birdhouse there to be scored at the end of the game. Next up, we've got the water droplet. You're going to choose one of your water droplets. You're going to move it down the cascade. And you'll notice there are different stops along the waterfall, and you'll get the bonus corresponding to it. In this case, perhaps I'll move this one to there and get that butterfly I'm covering. Next time it's my turn, I can move this one to here and get a bee, or I can move it down the middle, get another butterfly there, or I could move this one again and get, say, a ladybug. If they ever make it all the way to the bottom, you will, upon entry at the bottom, you'll get any one of the 3 types, and then you have a bonus spot unlocked that's going to get you victory points for various things, okay? So this is something you can pursue for some end-game scoring as well as bonuses throughout the game. And then the last one would be the frog over here. The first time you activate that, you're going to move your frog from your own area out here to the various lily pads, and then every time you activate it after that, it has to move to an adjacent location. Now, players' frogs do not block each other. You can share the same one. And when you go out here, you are going to gain, again, any one of the 3 types of critters, or you could move to one of these, and as long as you have at least 4 of that type of thing, then you would take the dragonfly. That dragonfly is going to be worth some victory points, as we explained over here, the bigger ones being the better ones, okay? Once you have one of a kind, you cannot take that kind again. For 3 players, there's just the large one and then another one below that, okay? So, for example, if I have already taken 4 buttercups of any kind, then I'm allowed to go in here and I'm allowed to take that. I would just put that somewhere in there. And then next time I move from the center, I would be able to move here, here, or here. Let's say I go there and get a butterfly. From there, I'm allowed to go to almost all the locations except the one across, and so on. Anything adjacent is fair game there. And that's the bonuses. That's all of them available to you. Now, the only thing I have not explained is that when you get the lavender here, you get a single lavender. You'll see that again show up on some of these bonuses. That's going to be worth 2 victory points at the end of the game, as explained right here. Once you get another one, you'll put them together. That also is worth 2 victory points, but now you have the decision to make. You can either take this and put it above it and have your lavender blossom there. It has a spot for 3 bees, and if filled at the end of the game, you're going to get 8 victory points. But it's an all or nothing thing. If you don't think you'll be able to do it, or it's too late in the game, then instead you can just take one of the little dragonflies, put it there above it, and then that's worth a single victory point as shown right here. Now, one final thing I want to talk about here is these bonuses with the honey pots. Once you have 4 bees in this area that are sitting here on these buttercups, then you get to activate one of these honey pots. And they'll give you bonuses at the end of the game. Once you get to 7, I'll just go ahead and show you this a little closer up. Once you get to 7 bees, you'll unlock another one. And if you get to 9 bees, you'll unlock another one. Now, don't forget, I said you can move bees in and out of here, but you only check while they're there. So if you have 4 bees, they can then leave. The honey pot will stay turned on like this. But then if you want to get a second one, you need to not just add 3, you got to bring it all the way back up to 7 again. And these are going to give you victory points for leaves, victory points for your ladybugs, and your lanterns and your butterflies. The trick being you can only unlock 3 of these, as you can tell. So once you have 3, you won't get any more, but you'll be getting some nice victory points at the end of the game from that. You are going to continue until all the tools have been used. The players will have the same number of turns. And then once that's done, we're going to use this cute little scoring board. Every player gets one of these. And this player aid to figure out your final score. And whoever has the most points, of course, is the winner of the game. So I would say that this game falls squarely into the cozy category of games, right? It's a fairly modern thing, this idea of games being very cozy, and usually there's some telltale signs, the setting certainly, the look, generally sort of low, mental load and demand. That's kind of the things you can look for in cozy games. And I think this is a cozy game. I think that's kind of what they're pushing for on purpose,
Yeah, I think that's what their goal was, like you're saying, and I think that if that was the goal, they absolutely nailed it. I kind of consider it more of like a weeknight game. You say kind of that low overhead, it's not going to take a ton of setup, but it's also going to have a good reward to it. You're not having to spend time in the rule book every time you play it. It kind of, after a play or two, becomes very comfortable, that one that you just keep coming back to for low overhead. To jump onto a negative with that, just with that in mind, how quick it is to set up, I think it is really quick to set up with the tray that comes in it that keeps all the components organized. But I, for the life of me, can't figure out why that tray doesn't have a lid. Because it's so great to hold all those little components in their spot, so you just take it out and you're ready to play within, under 5 minutes.
Right.
But don't move your box.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
As soon as those components move, they're not going back in. It's ugh.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well. That there's not something that'll keep everything in place, and there's no big central board that'll do that. There's a few boards, but nothing that'll. It needed a lid. I think a lid would have done some heavy lifting here as far as the ease of getting it going. You know.
Yeah.
There's one thing that this game does, which I've seen very, very rarely. And I think it's going to be, it's almost like the determining factor as to whether this is going to be a game you're going to like. And that is, in this game, you are collecting things and putting them in front of you. And where do they go in front of you? Anywhere you want to on this kind of background picture frame area.
Yeah, you're like visually building your garden, right? So it's like, ooh, where do I want this?
And that's a big part, I think, of whether you are going to enjoy this game or not. Do you like that idea? Oh, I collected some, hollyhocks or something. Where do they go? Anywhere you want to start building them. Yeah. Where do I put my, what's the purple?
Buttercup.
The lavender.
Oh, the lavender one.
Where do my lavender leaves? Where do they go? Anywhere you want to start building those up. On the one hand, it's very cozy, you know what I mean? And then on the other hand, it's kind of free form, and that might be a little scary if you want that, like, where do things go? What do I do? The rest of the game, I think, is that, actually. I think the rest of the game is very cut and dry. But that free form, pretty, you can look down and be like, look at what I'm building.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big part of it.
I think what saves it for me personally, because I do like things like everything has a home. It goes here. Here's the empty space, and now I filled said empty space. That's very satisfying typically. So the freeform, the first time I played it, was a little loosey-goosey, a little, are you sure I can place it anywhere? But I think how I kind of came around on that was once the first one is placed, then everything does have a home. Once you place your first hollyhock, there are now placement rules for the future ones. They kind of, this is my hollyhock area, and so it doesn't become more restrictive as it goes, but it becomes more organized as you kind of play after you place the first one.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it too. If you like organizing things your way, this is a game that's going to sort of feed that part of your brain.
Yeah.
Like, no, I want to put those here.
Right.
And you can change your mind halfway through the game and be like, I'm going to move this over here. So again, I'm talking not mechanically yet here. I'm just talking kind of the parts of the brain this game's going to, soothe is those parts of the brain. The game, there's something that I want to mention that I think is either a positive or a negative based on what kind of player you are and whether you like this or not, and that is that you get bonuses from everything in this game. This is definitely a drip feed, victory points, point salad, Feldian kind of game in which no matter what you do, that is 2 or 3 or 5 points.
Yeah.
And I'm going to collect a thing, and that is 2 or 3 or 5 points. Oh, I'm going to draft a tile. Okay, you're going to get between 2 to 6 points.
Right.
Everything's a few points. Everything scores at the end of the game. It does make, in my opinion, the teach of this game the first time a little tough for how light the game is.
Right.
It's like, let me talk you through every kind of little thing. It all scores, and these two things together, that's 4 points. But then you put the B on it, and that's also 2 points. It's like a lot of stuff. Once you know the game, then it can become, with repetition, that sort of comfort food.
Right.
But to get into this game, the first play, the reward you're going to get back, doesn't satisfy the amount of like teach you got to do.
I think so, and I think the first time every time I've taught this game, or every first play I've been part of, there's been that aha moment during scoring. So in a lot of games of this kind of cozy or comfort level here, that aha moment comes a turn or two, like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
But that moment where it kind of all clicks really doesn't happen till the scoring.
Yeah.
It's like you've explained this scores this way, this scores that way, but until you go through it methodically at the end of the game, it's like, oh, okay. A lot of times that leads to, oh, okay. All right, let's play again then.
Yeah.
Because it's like, now I want to play understanding, but it's a little bit of a delay in seeing the picture come together.
My favorite part of the game is actually the action selection with the tools, where you are lining up there's 4 tools out there, and each one you can take gives you a couple of things, but then it's also above some sort of bonus. And I like that. I like the idea of it's sort of like drafting in Cascadia, where you're getting a tile and an animal. In this one, you're getting some goodies and a bonus. And there's, of course, ways to bend and break, lining those things up. I want this tool, but I want that bonus. Well, there's a lantern for that. And I enjoy that mechanically. The rest of the mechanisms, which is almost like saying scoring, because everything is just scoring, I find to be a bit run-of-the-mill. It's a lot of stuff you've seen before, The higher this is, the more it scores. The more of these things you collect, the more you score. You have a single color of hollyhock, you only get a couple of points. You get the trio, that's worth more. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of set collecting in various flavors. Neapolitan ice cream all the way through a little bit. Yeah. And while that's not necessarily a negative, it is very been there, done that. It's like I've seen all this before. And so you have to decide, or I have to decide, I guess, if the other stuff, the action selection, the free-form nature, the look of the game, is that enough? Because the scoring is a means to an end. None of it was exciting to me necessarily.
Right, and you can look at it, like you said, either way. It wasn't really exciting, or, it was comfortable. The actual scoring of the game is not going to be innovative. But it's how does everything come together, coupled with the tool selection,
right,
and the action that you get associated with that, I think is kind of what makes that unique.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and come on down at a 7 for this one. I enjoy it. It is a game that I also think scales well, though there's not a lot of interaction between the players. There is some with the frog at the jumping from lily pad to lily pad. There's going to be some tension there of things you want to achieve and take before other people take the better bonuses before you. The rest of it, you kind of are left alone to do your own thing. It scales well down to 2. It scales well up to higher player counts, just a little longer, but you'll be, in the zone, so to speak. And I do like the free form thing. At first, my mind rebelled at that idea. But then you ease into and you're like, it's no big deal. They could have printed a place where this goes, but I can also just place it anywhere. And it's pretty. The game is pretty. I think it's going to be the kind of cozy game that if you give it the time to become familiar with it, once that teach goes away and the repetition, the sort of, the coziness of that repetition settles in, then it'll pay dividends that way. Yeah. So for me, I like it. I'm going to give it a 7.
This one really sang for me. I liked it a lot. I'm going to come in at a 9.
Oh, wow.
I think it took me a while to figure out why I liked it so much, because a lot of these games that are the point salad or point soup, at the end, this scores this way and this is this way, everybody gets something. A lot of times those are coupled with some sort of puzzle that you're doing to try to maximize all these different ways it's going to score. How do I get 3 points for this and 2 points for that and 7 points for this? And so I think having coupling that everything is scoring something with the open nature of the placement, taking that puzzle element out of it, really made it comfortable and just it lightened the game and the mental load of it in a very comfortable, happy place way for me.
Okay.
You know, and I really like that. I love the action selection. I love the production as well with the tools and your little tool thing. So you can see you always have 15 turns no matter how many people you're playing with. And you see that counting down. So you're like, I only have 5 more turns. Okay, I need to switch gears and just think about the hollyhocks, you know, and I think it has a really good balance of long-term strategy. I really want to go into buttercups in this game or really maximize the bee scoring, but also it forces you to be kind of tactical in, as those tools come up, what's available.
Right.
And so I think that's a really good balance as well that keeps you mentally engaged without being really burdened down by having to puzzle through every single turn. So this is one that I think for a lighter game night, for a weeknight, it's not quite fast enough for me to call it like a filler game or anything like that.
Sure.
But to me, this would be we did a big game. I want something light afterward, or on a weeknight, or I just want a really pleasing, relaxing Saturday morning kind of ease into my morning kind of game. This really fits that bill and scratches that itch for me. So it's one that I can see myself playing for a long time.
Okay.
So for me, it's a 9. I'm really, really loving this game.
Wow. All right, well, there you go, folks. That is a 9 for Pergola. That is a seal of excellence. And again, if you want to get your cozy on and you want to enjoy something a little more free form and let you express yourself, you know, the way you collect things, then this is a good one for that. Very, very different game, again, from Meadow. Lighter game, I would say, than Meadow, but will fire some of the same parts of your brain. So there you go. Seal of excellence for Pergola, and that's going to do it for us, everybody. My name is Zee Garcia.
And I'm Camilla.
Go enjoy some hollyhocks.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.